Hey everybody, Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich here. Let's talk about our icy mess that's heading our way tomorrow. Now, I know a lot of folks saw in their app, they thought they were going to see snow. There is no snow in the forecast outside of the mountains. This is either going to be a miserable rain or ice tomorrow. Our system is taking shape currently right here over the middle of the country. There it is. It's pushing to the east, and you can already see all the winter weather products which are in effect. So let's go to the Carolinas first here, and you see all the counties in purple. Those are winter weather advisories. Now, a lot of folks asking, why am I under an advisory if we're not expecting much ice? Now, remember the way advisories are issued. They're issued by county. So, for instance, in Cleveland County, we expect some ice maybe in the northern part of the county. That includes a small tip of western Lincoln County. We expect ice maybe in northern Iredell County, northern Rowan County. So, the whole county has to be put under the advisory. So, even if we don't think there's going to be any winter weather down here towards Kings Mountain or Shelby or Grover, because there's winter weather in the northern part of the county, the whole county will be put in the advisory. Same thing for a county like Rowan. Southern part of the county might not see anything, but the northern part of the county might, so they're under the advisory. So that's the reason we're seeing that. And this is primarily for ice as we go into tomorrow. Let's talk about that potential. All right, let's show you the setup for this system. So you can see two things going on. Our system here in the middle of the country, and then this little low, which is swinging off the coast. Now, we call this a Miller B setup, which means we have two low pressure systems. We've got one coming in from the west, and we've got two forming on the coast. So what happens is the energy usually shifts from this low to the coastal low, and it becomes the dominant storm. Sometimes that transition can actually cause a weakening over the Carolinas before it becomes a stronger storm. This is always one of the most difficult things about forecasting these winter setups. The good news for this is we're not really worried about snow, so we're not adding the added difficulty of forecasting a snow event. This is going to be rain or ice. I cannot emphasize that enough. To get the snow out of your mind, this isn't going to be a snow event. You see the moisture coming in from the south tonight. Again, look at the time frame, 10 p.m. maybe as soon as that. I think probably closer to midnight is a safer bet. Now, we could see a little bit of sleet at the onset. It could be cold enough at this initial stage that some of this could fall sleet or rain initially. But it's quickly going to change either to rain or freezing rain. And as we go into the overnight hours, I'll stop this at 4 o'clock in the morning. You can see the areas in kind of orange or red. That's freezing rain. The red or orange is freezing rain. Pink becomes more of a mix. And then white or blue is going to be snow. So you can see that's mainly rain for the most part. But it does transition to ice by about sunrise. And you can see where that ice is most prominent. Right there in that area, we typically see the cold air get trapped against the mountains from Interstate 40 up to the Greensboro area. So that's the highlighted area. Around Charlotte, sure, I do think we could see a brief mix, but it's not going to last long. And again, most of this is going to be in the trees and elevated surfaces. The temperature at the ground is going to be right around 31, 32, and the ground is pretty warm. So you're not looking at huge road issues except for maybe some bridges or overpasses. This is really going to be about the elevated surfaces of trees, power lines, decks, railings, that kind of thing. So as we go through the morning, you could see that ice kind of hangs on for a while. The areas where we see it the longest is where we'll have the biggest problems. And through noon tomorrow, you can see it changing to rain. But look at along the Blue Ridge. Significant icing could occur there because it stays ice for a long period of time through mid-afternoon. Notice it is still icing on the eastern-facing slopes. And then eventually it changes to rain and then back to snow. So I had some questions about snow. For Watauga County and Ashe County, there's going to be enough of a mix of sleet and snow that there could be some accumulation. But make no mistake, there's a lot of ice mixed in for all of the mountains in this. As we go through time, you can see it changes eventually back to snow on the backside for the mountains. And we get some substantial northwest flow event maybe setting up, especially on Thursday morning as the colder air filters in. And even on Thursday, you can see some little bands of moisture trying to make it east of the mountains. Now, again, I didn't even talk about this event going up the coast. Watch this. You can see how this becomes a significant winter storm for interior sections of Western Virginia, West Virginia, and especially Pennsylvania, northern New Jersey, upstate New York. Man, that's going to be a monster storm. So how much are we talking about ice-wise? So here's a quick look at the ice, and you quickly see the area of greatest concern is right here on these eastern facing slopes. I'm really concerned about there. Maybe a small area up in here, depending on how the cold air holds on. Now, remember, I talked about how counties are used to issue these advisories. So, for instance, you see, we might see glazing northern Cleveland County, northwest of Lincoln County, maybe up here northern parts of Catawba, northern half of Iredell, and the northwest section of Rowan. Well, because of the way the advisories are issued, you're going to see the whole county added to the advisory. So even though the impacts are up here, these parts of the county will be added in. So that's why I know people see that and they immediately go, "Oh, we're going to see ice." No, it's just one of those things about issuing advisories for counties. You know, part of the county gets an advisory level event, and the other part does not. So let me show you real quickly another view of this as we look at this. Let me exit out of here. You can see some specks of glazing showing up down here closer to Charlotte. But again, most of this is elevated surfaces. You can actually see Crowder's Mountain there, King's Pinnacle. You see some Morrow Mountain. So you can see some of the higher elevated surfaces will get some ice on them. But the real issues are going to be these eastern facing slopes up here. And as far as snow is concerned, let me show you real quickly the snowfall forecast. Let me move my head out of the way here. You can see where we're expecting the heaviest snow is actually up here as well on the backside in parts of Watauga in Ashe County. So we'll keep an eye on this. The potential for some icing, certainly a possibility tomorrow. I wish it was snow. This is not going to be a snow event for a lot of us. This is going to be an advisory level icing event. If you do live up in these areas, I would be cautious, maybe potentially some power outages. My good friend Chris White made a good point about the ground being saturated, so it might not take as much ice to bring some trees down. They might come down because of the loose soil. So just something to keep in mind, especially right in here. Eastern Watauga, Ashe, Avery, Upper Burke, Caldwell, into Wilkes County. These areas in particular, always synonymous with icing events that last much longer than anticipated. And so I would really worry about potentially seeing significant icing in those locations. Of course, I'll have updates all day, all night, and through this event tomorrow. Be safe, be weather aware, and have a great Tuesday.